right, guys, we got Chad Conley here with us today. We are walking. We're on mile 34 of a 50-mile ruck here. Hurting a little bit tired, but we're making it. We're getting there.
We're still smiling.
Still smiling.
That's all that matters.
So, Chad, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and just tell your story, man. Like, I'll let you take it. Just who's Chad Conley?
I'm a happy father and a blessed husband, I will say, to start with. I've got an amazing wife and an incredibly rad little girl.
That's awesome, man.
Make me feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
And
how old's your daughter?
She's 2.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's 2. So I'm in the fun times where she's very verbal. So it's, Dad, we're doing this. Dad, we're doing that. And it's just like, yes, we are. Go. So right now it's explore and learn.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
it's an amazing time. But me, I've been in Green Beret for 20 years, and through that time, it's been a lot of challenges that have turned into some amazing opportunities, which led me into designing cold gear, climbing mountains, all the deployments and all that that we have to do, and then
so cool.
It's been a blessing, and then I found my way into doing something, dealing with the BS that we bring home, which is why we're out here at mile 34:50.
Hurting.
Yeah, we're still smiling, so it's all right.
Still smiling, yep. Well, there's those who can't be here with us today doing it, right? So
absolutely,
that's why we're out here.
Yeah, it's a way for us to celebrate the impact of those that aren't here left by celebrating their lives.
Yeah.
And I'm retiring, and it's time to move on.
That's cool. And that's also important because that's hard for a lot of people to do, especially those that have the accreditation you have.
Yeah, I found with our guys and those in Special Operations Command or SOCOM that when you dedicate and your family dedicates, because it's as much about them doing it as the guy with the position scale MOS.
Yeah.
It's that sacrifice of time, family, energy, sweat, and once that's gone and you've hung it up, it's who am I now?
Right.
What am I doing now, and how do I become me again? When the whole time you're you, that's just a job you do, but everyone holds so tightly to what that is. And that can be just your corporate 9-to-5 job. If you identify that as that's who you are, you need to realize there's more. You need to realize there's a God that loves you, and that there's more out there than you.
Yeah.
Find and grind yourself down to understand who you are, and then ground yourself into that. And a solid foundation will always stand.
That's huge. That's huge. So obviously you're a man of faith. Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah. Grew up in a Free Will Baptist church where if the preacher wasn't sweaty and red-faced at the end, it wasn't a good service. And that's just how Southern Ohio is. But then I started getting into the Word and actually understanding what the Bible said, and like reaching and speaking out to those that could guide me and show me the Word, and it built my foundation of faith even stronger, and to know that it's not by works alone, it's by faith and picking up my cross and following Christ.
Yeah.
And which I was able to lead and bring it in the military. One of the greatest honors I had in my entire time was I was in Iraq, and I brought Christmas to Kirkuk in 2010 when these terrorist units said, well, you can't do that. And I was like, well, watch me and watch what God can do. And we ended up giving Christmas to all the children, whether you're Christian, Muslim, didn't matter. We all had them go to the same church, and we passed out food, clothing, and money to each and every child who showed up there, and that was God doing that.
That's incredible.
At the end of it, our Turk, she said, you're the Christian of the group, you're the Christ, is what she said, and I'm like, it's the greatest thing I'll ever be told. Thank you, because it actually means that, you know what? You can see it.
Yeah, Christ-like behavior, right?
That's the idea.
That's what we're striving towards. So, what was the reaction of these children when you brought them Christmas?
One of disbelief, because why are people that are supposed to be carrying guns coming over here and giving hugs, bringing food, clothing? Because in Kirkuk, in the winter, it snows, so it gets very cold, and it's very poor. Although 10% of all the world's oil is produced in this one city, they don't see a dime of it. So, incredibly impoverished people. and you're able to actually just give to them. And it was almost disbelief. There's tears in the mom and dad's eyes, and the kids just didn't know what to do.
Man, that's how you win people over, too.
That's how you stop
you
a
just
war.
Give. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, wow. Man. So, what's been the most difficult mission for you that you've been on? I understand there's, you may have classifications you're not allowed to disclose yet, of course, but, what you can tell us maybe. And why was it difficult?
Same deployment. It was daytime. We were out, and we're just basically almost doing like a presence patrol, looking to spook some people out for later.
Okay.
And we're driving out there, and I'm on the gun, so I'm on top of the truck, and I'm sitting there on the 50 cal. So, which means if I'm sitting on the 50 cal, it means that I'm the guy behind the trigger of our large crew serve weapon, a 50 cal machine gun. Mm-hmm. So the big one you see in the World War II movies. So I'm in it, and I look over. There's an alleyway, and these kids are playing in trash, but they're happy. And
nothing.
Could not comprehend how they could find such happiness and such just impoverished sadness, but to them it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And it said everything I had, and I was like, why are you complaining? And why can't you do more? And that stuck with me since.
Yeah. Is that part of what encouraged you to start what we're doing today?
Yeah, it was that and some friends who had passed, and for goodness sakes, I had a couple buddies recently killed themselves, but he had some friends die in combat, and it was just hard for me to handle. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite movies is Cool Hand Luke. So one day, because Paul Newman's character eats 50 eggs in Cool Hand Luke, so I decided to go out for a 50-mile walk. There was no math, no nothing that says, oh, this will be the number that breaks me down. Yeah. It was, he ate 50 eggs, I did 50 miles, but I needed it for me. Cleared my head. Mm-hmm. And next thing I know, some friends are like, we need to do that and do another one. And 3 years later, here we are.
Wow. And this is growing. I mean, you're in how many states now? We just brought this is the first time it's in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it won't be the last, but the first time in Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. And this year we have been in Georgia, Texas. We're here in Indiana. We're going to Shanksville, Pennsylvania for our United 93 ruck.
Oh, cool.
We have Dallas, Texas, going back to Texas. And then we're partnering with the Green Bay Packers in November to do one there.
Incredible. God's taking it the distance, which is really cool.
It is, I think it's kind of amazing if you just open up and say, Lord, use me, and then take a time, which we have a hard thing to do today, take time to listen and have him guide us.
Be present.
Yeah, because he's our Father who loves us, but he's not just going to give it to us. Mm-hmm. So learning, how it is to, and that comes through reading the Word, that comes through prayer, and that comes through intense listening and feeling. Mm-hmm. And luckily, and so far, by the grace of God, I've been able to keep this going.
That's cool. So 50 for the Fallen is what we're doing, guys. And what we're doing is walking from Speedway, Indianapolis, Indiana. We walked all the way to Westfield, Indiana. So 25 miles up, 25 miles back downtown. We're finishing at the Peyton Manning statue at Lucas Oil. And, important landmarks for Indy. These are big places. And it's a grind. It's not easy. Had you ever rucked 50 miles before? Until doing this?
No, the closest I had ever done to that was about 30 to 35 miles. We do that in the Q course, the Special Forces Qualification course, down in Fort Bragg. And you have, at the end of the selection, we have the STAR, which is you doing a personal land nav. Mm-hmm. You're going to do about 25, 30 kilometers there. And then you have the Trek, which is about 30 to 35 miles over some distance. So that's about my longest until I decided to go for the 50. And I didn't prep for the 50 at all. My first one. I just felt called to do it, had to get out. And
did you do it by yourself?
Yeah. Wow. Did it by myself. I had friends around the nation. Who did the ruck with me and would pop in virtually and say hi. Mm-hmm. But it was a solo endeavor in a lot of ways, but that was great because at one point I took a wrong turn because I almost got hit by a car. A lady, she was real nice, but where the head goes, the body follows.
Right.
And she was looking at me waving, and the car started to swerve towards me.
Oh, no.
And I dodged out the way, and I was like, well, I'm going to go a different route.
Yeah.
So then I changed my route up, go up this hill, and I just start screaming my buddy's name every time my left foot hit the ground. And got to the top and just lost it. Just opened up, started crying, felt it. But it was exactly what I needed. And at that moment, I was like, thank you. God, you put me there for that reason to get up the hill. And now I know why I'm doing this.
Man, that's crazy. Well, and what makes this even more challenging is the fact that we're sleep deprived, right?
Yeah, that's also the good of it, because you get out of puts you in a different spot. You're a little more open and vulnerable. And the next thing you know, you're talking to people you don't know, because we were all strangers just a couple hours ago, and now everyone's opened up, and we are. We'll be you'll find this turn into a family that you never knew you needed.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, yeah. I mean, and as you said too, when we got to mile 30, 35, is when you start feeling those feelings, right?
You do,
and I started thinking like, okay, 30 miles. I'm hurting, feet are killing me right now. Calves are cramping up, and, I started thinking about, well, I can't quit, My wife and kids are at home. Told my boy I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Got to show him how to fulfill a commitment.
That's right.
And it hurts, and we're slowing down a little bit, but
it's okay.
But we're doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
I mean,
and we're following through.
Yeah, and the best part is, greater is he that is in me than is in the world, and all you have to do is understand that you have it in you to do this. It takes a step more, and you're there.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Laura Zara, she's a survivalist, and we did the one at D.C. In 2020, we were for Memorial Day. We started at Walter Reed, and we ended at Arlington National Cemetery.
Okay.
And at mile 25, she and I just started laughing about it. We're like, oh, we're just there. It's almost there. It's just a short walk now, and just laughing. And that really is what it is when you get with great people.
Yeah, it becomes fun. Like we had a great time joking around, talking deep stories. It's been a really cool experience.
Yeah, but it's gonna suck tomorrow. It's gonna be tough tomorrow. The feet hurt. I gotta be on a flight at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and it is what it is. But you just gotta laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Laugh it off.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, this is it's definitely been a good time so far. And so, what are next steps for you with getting out? We talked about that a little bit earlier, but what are the next steps? Is it 50 for the Fallen? Is that going to be the primary thing going forward, or do you have other ideas you're going to be pursuing as well?
Well, I was very fortunate while I was in to help redesign and write the Arctic requirement documents for United States Army Special Operations Command, and work for SOCOM to build some of theirs better. Like I said, spent a lot of time above the Arctic and down in New Zealand, their winter, which is an amazing time to be there, bitterly cold. So go down, work with some companies there. Got some fellas who want to have me help redesign and do that. It'll be 50, and then we'll see about a couple different pro teams that have been wanting to work with me and have me come in to help them, because what I've done for the last year at my unit is help them redesign the retirement to find out who you are when you're no longer you, like we had said. And I brought that to the NFL as well. Yeah. And just a way to understand that when you take the uniform, the business attire, the jersey off, you're you, only better, because now that chapter has made you better for it. And you just have to understand that it's okay to take it off.
Time to close that chapter, right?
Yeah, and you can go back and reread it, but it's more to be written.
Yeah, looking forward into life rather than being stuck where you're at.
Speaking of being stuck, how many of us have been stuck right now looking for bathrooms? And thank goodness right now the sun's come up, the open signs are on.
We're getting there.
And we're able to actually get there and take a break if we need to and use the restroom.
Exactly. That's going to be great. Man, yeah. I'm looking forward to soaking these feet in some ice at some point too, but we got a few more hours for that.
Yeah, we got a few more hours, and hopefully not a few hours more. We'll finish when we're supposed to on this one and call it a day.
That's awesome. Well, we'll keep this one a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Just because I want to let you get around and talk to other people and all that fun stuff. But one question I ask everybody on here: what's the legacy you want to leave?
I want my daughter to know that her father had an impact on others' lives. When my dad died, my dad was a very philanthropic individual, helped as many as he could with his means. Mm-hmm. And when he passed at the funeral home, the line of people zigzagged through the funeral home, out the door, and ran around the block twice. And everybody came to pay their respects. I want her to see that in me, that I did more for others than I did for myself.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
And I got to say, because we're here, I got to say one thing.
Yeah.
For your listeners, I want to give a big thank you to Clean Eats Fisher, because Clean Eats Fisher came through, powered us through this event.
They did.
With amazing crunch, with their wraps, with the Arnold, and Jeff and Cassie came out. Cassie set it up, made sure we had the food we needed. Jeff is still walking with us. Mm-hmm. So the owner of Clean Eats Fisher is not just putting his money into this and feeding us, but he's also putting his feet and the miles into it to show that companies do care, do want to be a part, and do support our community and our veterans.
Yeah. They've been awesome. They've been great. Oh, and caffeined up by Jocko Fuel.
Yeah, and Jocko came through. Actually, a buddy of mine, Tulsi Gabbard, knows Jocko real well, so I'm going to call Tulsi and tell her to say thanks to Jocko for that.
There you go.
And that came through Will here. But Jocko, when you hear this, yes, Green Berets can say thank you to SEALs, so thank you, my brother.
Love it. Love it. Well, Chad, thanks for being on today. We'll finish this out strong and keep going. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Love you, my friend. God bless you. And to you out there, I love you, and I will see you at the finish line.
Talk soon.